Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's a little windy and a little bit noisy out here, but I've got some incredible news about the Red Brick House. Now, I'm not at the Red Brick House right now. Anybody who knows me or has been watching my channel for any length of time knows that I have affinity for old houses, and this house right here is actually a historic house on the Susquehanna River in Pennsylvania. It's the Stoner Pancake House, and it was built in 1876. You can see how beautiful the detail is. It was once one single house, but what they've done is it's been made into two houses, and it's unbelievable. 3 stories, and the upstairs ceiling has to be 12 foot. Be that as it may, I enjoy working on and restoring and saving old houses. I originally grew up, my parents' house was built in about the same time this house was. It was built during Reconstruction, and have always been used to the creaks of an old house, the antique heart pine floors, and so on. And so the Red Brick House for me was a no-brainer. And I have to say thank you to so many of you who have bought a paving stone that's going in our historic walkway. Those stones will be there probably a lot longer than I will be, and will put the significance of the Red Brick House. One of my goals always has been with saving that house is getting it on the National Registry of Historic Places. And that's where the money we're raising through the Brick campaign is going to. If it is approved by the Historic Commission, it's about $3,500 for them to actually make up the historic marker and signage for the place and to actually register it. And that's where you guys have helped. So I've started the process of getting the house registered. The Department of Historic Preservation Resources, DHR, Department of Historic Resources, which in Virginia has 3 offices, a eastern, a southern, and a northern offices. I've gone through and I've actually gotten in contact with them. To my amazement, I went to their office. The archaeologist for them was there. The person I needed to talk to was actually gone to lunch, but he's been familiar with the house. And so going through the process of the paperwork and things, they're telling you how to fill out the form and the things that you need. You need to have maps of the area and site visits. Photographs and stuff of the property for them to assess. And they also say to talk to the state's archivist for historic preservation, in which case I did. I ended up giving him a call on Friday morning when I was driving up here yesterday morning, and he got back to me yesterday afternoon. Come to find out, there's already a file on the Red Brick House. The Historic Society has actually done a site visit on the Red Brick House back in 2015. In order to become a historic marker, there's some things that you have to do. Of course, you have to give reasons why it's significant, or if it's the architecture or the builder. Like if it was built by Frank Lloyd Wright, of course, it would be real easy to say that it would be significant because he was a great architect. For the Red Brick House, because of people trying to save it, people had gotten in touch with the department and said this house is going to be destroyed, and they went through and they documented the house to start the process of it, thinking that it was going to be gone. But talking to him, he was excited because he's like, it definitely has what it takes to be part of the registry. And he copied me, and he ended up sending me the file that they had already, which was pictures of it just before I got it, where it's literally falling apart and stuff, and listing the historical significance as far as architecture goes. But the thing is, and here's the reason why it's probably not made a registry, not put on the registry. 1, because of the shape it was in, and 2, as you go through on the paperwork on it, you have to have permission from the owners. The owners have to sign the documentation, and they weren't able to go inside of the house to go ahead and document it. So those are the reasons why it wasn't put and made to go further. Why the process didn't go further. the city owned it, and unfortunately it was in disrepair, and they didn't have the money to fix it. So for them to go through and get the house registered would kind of make it so they would have to fix it, and they didn't have the money at the time to do it. They were working on other historic projects like the Plum House and the Waynesboro Museum and things like that. You know, unfortunately, that's how things work out. But to find out that information about the red brick house and that they are already familiar with it, it may be, hopefully, fingers crossed, a no-brainer for it to get put on there. So now the thing I have to do is get the main form together. You know, basically we've got to go through and write the historical significance, the Bush Farm, that was part of the Bush Farm, and that William Brown, a War of 1812 veteran, is the guy who designed and built it, and so on, about it being a Mason's Lodge, the lead lodge for the city of Waynesboro, it being used as a hospital during the war of the Civil War, and being that the Battle of Waynesboro, the last battle in the Shenandoah Valley, went through the property, are all significant events, including it being actually built originally as a school. And if that is true, here's where it's actually really kind of crazy. If you look at Augusta County, the oldest school that they have listed is 1836. And that one has a marker on it. So this, if they can get the documentation to verify, I mean, that's what everybody has been told, that it was originally built as a school. If that's the fact, then it may be the oldest school in Augusta County, which is kind of cool to think of. So we've uncovered all kinds of things. And another thing that I can put and say that I think makes it also should be on the list is there's the Quisenberry House, which is downtown Waynesboro, which looks like almost an exact replica of the red brick house. It's about 8 years older. It is federal style. It has been modified from what it was originally because the entranceway was in the center, but it was moved to the side in the 1830s. Sorry. When I'm not at home, I don't sleep well. Forgive me. The Plum House, which is also considered the oldest wooden house in Waynesboro, which was built in like 1808, I think it was, is another federal style house. And here's where the Plum House, that one's on the list, is tied in with the red brick house. Because in the 1880s, the Hippert family, which owned the red brick house, sued the Plums to keep them from having their brick furnaces being used because they were too close to the property. And they were claiming that it was destroying their peach trees, and that their daughter literally would come out the front door and would get scalded from the heat from the brick furnaces. So that's the update that we have as far as getting the house registered. It excites the hell out of me that, you know, we're taking another step closer to it. Appreciate you guys. Peace out.